All right, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the Fantasy Frenzy podcast. What week are we here? 11, 12?
Week 12.
Thank you. Oh man, it's winding down fast. It's been an interesting year because I can't recall this kind of a year in recent history, at least as far as my experience goes, where every time I turn around, another injury is just decimating a team of mine that can't hang. And so I've raided the waiver wire as many times as I possibly can. And there's guys now where I'm looking at them and going, I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to take the goose egg because these guys aren't going to do anything. This has been a tough year for some of this, man.
It has been, man. I mean, injuries are really piling up, and I'm always a big stickler that when week one happens, man, 100% of my team is healthy, ready to go at 100%. And boy, it just has been this attrition during the course of this season, and so many key players, especially like in the tight end position, have just been decimated. All these starting tight ends that are injured. I mean, you're talking about Hooper, Engram, Kittle. I mean, it's.
Oh, I could go even further back. How about Njoku, Disley? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like this constant juggling act, and in my tournament leagues this past weekend, I was without my two starting tight ends. This is a PPR league, but you get 1.5 points for tight ends. So I had both Engram and Kittle. Both those guys were out this week, so I had to start Jack Doyle, and he got a 0, and yet I still won the game. So I don't know what happened there.
Right, nice.
But I definitely need these guys back. It sounds like Kittle is going to be back. It sounds like he's going to be fine, but Engram is a question mark. I'm like, dude, I need you both in there because I really need the points this week.
I hear you.
Critical. So
I hear you.
But I did go 5-1 this week, so
nice.
It was a good week for me. Monday Night Football went perfect for me. Everything I needed to have happened. Kelsey had a big night. Mahomes had an average night. Let's see here. Phil Rivers got just enough. It was
not for me. He didn't. I'll tell you that. I cut him.
Yeah,
I mean, cut him. I mean, did you ever think you'd see Phillip Rivers sitting on the waiver wire? And today, I've got Stafford. I picked up Derek Carr, and I looked at Rivers, and I said, you know what? I don't even have the room on my bench for you. You're done, dude.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to grab him. He's their problem now,
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. In my tournament league, we have the playoffs this weekend. My two quarterbacks I've been rolling with the whole year are Goff and Rivers, and both are like, I don't want anything to do with either of these guys right now. So I've gone to the waivers, and here's my options for who I'm trying to pick up. It's a bid-based thing, it's a fab-based. So I've got a bid in for Jeff Driscoll, the Detroit quarterback, and Ryan Fitzpatrick in my those are the two best that were available.
Well, you know what? Hey, the Cowboys defense can make somebody like Jeff Driscoll look like freaking Aaron Rodgers sometimes. It drives me nuts. I didn't get to see any football because I was in Vegas this whole weekend. So, and the other thing that's really making me mad before we starts and sits, my ESPN fantasy app.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is with that thing, but there are days where that thing won't load on a bet. And so I know I'm in Vegas, and so I'm hopping off of different Wi-Fis. I would switch to data. I couldn't see my scores all day long because it wouldn't load. It kept saying, oops, something went wrong, retry. I hit it over and over and over again, and it wouldn't tell me anything.
ESPN is chronic with that problem. I don't know what their deal is. I don't really like their platform. I'm much more of a Yahoo guy.
I'm going to look into that next year because I've done nothing but ESPN my whole life.
The app for Yahoo is way better than the one for ESPN.
Good to know.
So, I would totally recommend it. I very much like the way that their whole system runs, and you can really basically run everything you need to do through the app if you need to. So, that's my personal recommendation.
In the runaway. That's good to know because everybody I talk to bitches about ESPN's app. So I'll put the word out.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. All right.
So let's talk real quick about when we're getting into starts and sits this week. Aren't the buys pretty much over now, or do we got one more week of them?
This is the last week of buys, but you got some big teams that are on buy. The Chiefs are out. Who else is out this week? I don't even remember. Let's see here. Oh, the Chargers are out. So Minnesota is out. Okay. So there are some, there's some big time players that are not playing this weekend. So
and there's another tight end, Xing tight ends off because Kyle Rudolph has been great for me for the last 3 weeks. And now he's finally on a roll again for the first time in 7 years. And now he's taking a buy on me now? Now, dude, come on. Jeez.
Well, I got to say, when it came to the tight end starts and sits, there's not a lot of great options this weekend. That's just what it comes down to. Any of these guys, you're basically basically just hoping for a touchdown. That's what you're hoping for, that he gets into the end zone.
Let's start there.
If you're looking for a replacement right now, I'm recommending I like Dallas Goedert,
Okay.
Who is playing Seattle, and Seattle's been a very generous defense, 2 tight ends, and Goddard has been decent. He's been good, and he's gotten 2 touchdowns in the past 4 games. So again, that's basically what you're hoping for. If he falls into the end zone, you're good. You'll be happy with him. So he's definitely a pickup. I'm actually picking him up in place of Travis Kelce this weekend.
Okay.
Also, I like Ryan Griffin, who is playing against Oakland this week. And so I think they're going to be, it's a good matchup. And I think he's got a chance to get in the end zone. That's basically what you're hoping for with those.
You know who I was stunned to see was available on the waiver wire this week and I wish I could remember his name now, but he's the tight end for Seattle since Disley went out.
Yes.
And
he was Driscoll.
No, it wasn't Driscoll. It was like a Hutchison or something. God, I should know this. I'm sorry, but I put in a claim for him.
Okay.
And apparently somebody was higher up on the claims than me because I didn't get him. And I don't even remember who I went and got at this point. I got Vance McDonald from Pittsburgh. But
man,
what are you going to do?
He hasn't been doing anything.
Nope.
And really that whole offense is just such a mess right now. I don't want anything with the Pittsburgh offense. But so my sits, though, there are some bad matchups this week for tight ends. And I got to say, man, Darren Waller playing the Jets, Waller's production has not been great the past few weeks. And this is a tough matchup on the road. So I think he is going to continue to struggle. And I would try to stay away from him if you can. But chances are if you got Waller, you're going to play him. Also Everett, Gerald Everett of the Rams, man, they're playing Baltimore this weekend. And it's a tough matchup anyway, but Goff is a mess. I don't know what's going on with that. I can't trust any receivers right now for the Rams. So both those guys, tough matchups. I would not expect much out of them this weekend.
I have a commissioner in a league I worked with last year that said, should we have a flex or should we have a tight end? And I voted for flex, but I got outvoted. And he says, why wouldn't you want a tight end? I said, because, face it, we're in the post-Gronkowski days. With the exception of 3 guys, I don't think tight end's that important. So you could have maybe a wide receiver / tight end spot. I could see that. But I'd rather have a flex than a tight end. And tight ends are, like we just said, they're a proverbial pain in the ass this year.
Well, I got to say, man, in a couple of my leagues, I've switched to a 2-flex league. Now, it still has a tight end position, but 2 flex spots instead of 1. And I love those games. It gives you so much flexibility with roster construction. Like if you want to go all in on elite wide receivers, you can roster 4 wide receivers in a week. Or if you want to go with running backs, which is usually what I do, I go with the running backs and I try to roster 4 running backs each week. I really like that kind of a layout. So I totally recommend for next year, add another flex spot. It makes it more fun.
I like that idea. All right, so let's talk. Let's shift to running backs here real quick. Who do you like this week?
Okay, so good running backs. I got to say, I really like Jalen Samuels this week. They are playing. I think I messed this up. They're playing Cincinnati this week, I do believe. Aren't the Steelers playing Cincinnati?
Okay, yes, I think
I'm pretty sure. I wrote it down wrong on my notes here. But anyway, Connor's still injured. I don't think Connor's going to play this weekend. So Jalen Samuels has got a plus matchup against a really soft defense. I think he has a lot of upside there. Last time they played Cincinnati, he got 8 or 9 catches or something like that. It was like a great matchup, especially for PPR. So I love Jalen Samuels. And I also like David Montgomery this week. He's the only good part of that Chicago offense right now.
That's for sure.
They're playing the Giants. Giants have given up the 12th most points to running backs. I think it's going to be a run-heavy game. They're going to lean on Montgomery. And I think to a lesser extent, I think Tariq Cohen also has a good opportunity here this weekend as well. But I like both those guys.
Okay. And then your sits?
My sits would be Chris Carson against Philly. Philly can shut down the run, and Carson's lack of involvement in the passing game is also an issue. I think this is going to be an air raid game where it's going to be a lot of passing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
so
right.
I would stay away from Carson this week. And also, I don't like Carlos Hyde either. They're playing Indianapolis, solid defense. The Colts completely shut down Fournette last weekend. And
Yeah, they
so
did. Yeah, they did.
yeah,
He's been
and
solid
Hyde
for a
doesn't
while.
do anything in the passing game, so you're talking it's going to be tough sledding for him. I don't see a lot of production there, so I would stay away from Hyde if you can.
You know, I used Carlos Hyde a couple of times this year when I was kind of desperate, and he did all right for me a
Yeah,
couple of
I mean,
times. Not
he's
bad.
been pretty good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, better than I ever expected him to be. I thought he was done and washed up and just
Yeah, me too.
completely no tread on those tires anymore. But he's been decent. But again, I just don't like the matchup this week.
All right. All right. And then let's go to quarterback.
Quarterbacks. So here we go. I think Matt Ryan, who's playing Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay has a great run defense, but they have a terrible pass defense. I think it's going to be a big day for the Atlanta offense there. So get in shares of all those wide receivers. And I don't know if I could trust either of the backup tight ends since Hooper is out, but definitely. I mean, Julio and Ridley, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
I also like Baker Mayfield, who gets a nice cushy matchup against Miami at home. So he's finally playing better. He is not turning the ball over. He's getting the ball to his receivers. So I think he's going to be a great bye-week option if you are looking for a quarterback this week.
I like that because I just saw him sitting there. Would you take Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr if you had the choice?
Oh boy. I got to say Carr has been playing really, really well.
He's been all right. So
Yeah,
I could have had Mayfield, but I went with Carr.
Yeah, I think I would go with Carr too. I think they got a nice game this week, a nice matchup. I would definitely play Carr over Mayfield. So,
yeah, all right.
All
so
right.
Who you like to sit?
Sitting Aaron Rodgers, man,
Really?
at San Francisco. And Rodgers is just, he's not what he was, right? And that's the big thing. His name was so great in fantasy for so long. I just don't think he's that kind of a player anymore. And he's shown glimpses of what he used to be, but I just don't think he's that player anymore. And now you got a really tough matchup on the road against one of the best defenses in the league. It's going to be a tough day for Rodgers. So
Rodgers has a pretty pedestrian receiving core, especially when he's got Devontae Adams hurt. So I don't know if it's all
Devontae Adams hasn't done anything this year.
I know.
He hasn't gotten a single touchdown. Devontae Adams for the past 3 seasons, over 10 touchdowns every single year.
Yeah.
Last year he got 13. He's got 0.
Nothing.
11 weeks.
Not good.
Oh boy, that's a shame because I really liked him preseason, but luckily I didn't get him in any of my leagues. So that. Also, another obvious sit, Jared Goff, and just sit him. Don't even bother.
Baltimore, the rest of the year, sit him the rest of the year.
Baltimore has been ruining teams,
mm-hmm.
And so Goff, the whole offense of the Rams, with the exception probably Gurley, I would sit. So
okay. And let's go to receivers then.
Receivers. So going back to Baker Mayfield, I like Jarvis Landry. He is
he's kind of picking up the pace.
Team.
Yeah, no doubt.
40 targets in the past 4 weeks, 3 touchdowns in the past 4 weeks. He's finally getting utilized in the way I thought he was going to get utilized this season. So that makes me very happy to see that because I got him on several of my teams. Before he was hard to trust, but I'd say, man, absolutely trust him. Get him in Miami. Nice matchup. I think he's going to have a great day.
Think so too.
I also like all the Seattle receivers, man. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They're playing Philadelphia again. Philadelphia is great against the run, so they're going to take to the air, and I think it's going to be a very good day for Russell Wilson and all the receivers. So I think we're good with that. And then likewise, Julian Edelman is one of my sits for this week versus Dallas. I got to say, man, the New England offense is not that good.
No, it's as good as it has to be, I guess, and that's about it.
Yeah, they do just enough, right?
Yeah.
Just enough to win the game, but really it's the defense that's winning those games.
No doubt.
So Dallas has a great pass defense, great overall defense. I don't think they're going to get much production at all out of any of their receivers, so I would stay away.
All right.
I also don't like Amari Cooper on the other side of the ball because they play New England defense. I think all the Dallas receivers are very suspect this week. Randall Cobb had a great week last week. I do not like him at all this week. And I think both Gallup and Cooper are going to have very disappointing weeks. I think the New England defense has only allowed 2 passing touchdowns this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So don't even bother.
I tell you, though, if you're as a Cowboys fan, I agree with you. Bill Belichick will always find all of a sudden Randall Cobb's emerged. Belichick's game plan will take him out. Trust me. But if you are looking for somebody weird at tight end, I bet you the one guy who can score for the Cowboys this week is going to be a guy flying under the radar. Take a look at Blake Jarwin, because I wouldn't be surprised if they target him in the red zone.
That sounds like a good option, but
yeah.
New England doesn't give up touchdowns.
No, they don't. They don't.
And I think the whole game plan is going to focus on Zeke and Zeke and Pollard. Really, I think they're both going to be very good this week. They should get good production against that defense. But yeah, I mean those receivers, man, it's going to be like a black hole. There's not going to be any production there, and I doubt any touchdowns. So
nice.
So there you go, man. There's our starts and sits for week 12.
I like it.
So wish me luck this weekend.
Yeah, man. Good luck, dude. You need it.
I need to pull off that victory in my tournament league. Again, I need both Engram and Kittle to be there for me.
All right. Well, games. Good luck, man. I'll hit you up and see how you did.
All right. And we got 2 weeks to go before the fantasy playoffs start. Yep. 2 or 3 more weeks, depending on how your league does the playoffs. So good luck to everybody out there. Just keep getting those wins, working on your position rank in the draft to move yourself up the board. I'm focused on one league where I'm third. I really want to get up to second place. I'm still a game back, but if I get up to second place, I get a week 14 bye on our playoffs. Because only 6 teams go to the playoffs, and the top 2 teams get a week 14 bye, and I really want that. So
I get a win with my good team this week, and I've sewn up a bye. So I think I'm going to anyway. So one of my leagues is good. The other team, we won't talk about them.
5 and 6. Even though you have not done well, you're still probably in contention. I'm guessing you are.
I am, but there's nowhere to go but down. Everybody's banged up, and everybody I get on the waiver wire tells me that team's finished, man. I'm not even going to set the lineup the rest of the year. I'm just going to leave it where it's at.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens, man. I mean, it's just the team is snake bit. You can't cut a break, and anybody that does any good for you is like immediately injured.
Exactly right. All right, well, I'll check in with you Sunday then.
All right, great. So anyway, good luck everybody on your games this weekend. And if you haven't done so already, go to my YouTube page. Just search for Jimmie Maverick, Jimmie Maverick. You'll find my page. You can subscribe. You can watch the video here of the podcast. And like I said, we're going to continue to work on once we are done. Oh, that's the other thing we didn't even talk about. We're probably going to do something for the postseason. There is an NFL Playoff Challenge fantasy game that we're going to get. We're going to get going here with our listeners and stuff, and get people involved and extend that fantasy season through the Super Bowl. So
cool.
So we'll have that going on as well. But anyway, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Good luck in week 12, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, man.